Commissioners. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the June 10, 2021 Cumberland County Commissioners Workshop Meeting. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance by saying, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I call this meeting to order at 9 a.m. and at this time I open up the floor to public comment. Liaison. Hearing none and seeing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 3, and I'll call on Rich Farr to discuss the Susquehanna Regional Transit Authority Articles of Incorporation. Rich? I believe Jill Nagy is also on the line with us.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, good morning. Yes. So we are working our way through the process of forming the new transit authority, the Susquehanna Regional Transportation Authority, as you referenced. And so we've gone through the process of advertising this, the creation of the new authority. And so the next step in that process is to process the Articles of Incorporation and submit them to the Secretary of State to actually form the authority. And then that'll allow us to begin doing the legal process of getting an EIN number and such. Joe, I don't know if there's anything we need to add to that.
No, I think that's it. That's the last step in our process to get everything formalized so that we can start to transition employees, get benefits lined up and things of that nature.
Commissioners, do you have any questions about the Articles of Incorporation?
No, all the necessary parties have seen it.
Yes.
Our folks.
I did. I had one comment, and I don't know if that was addressed.
I did ask about it, and as we were sitting here, I don't know that I've gotten an answer.
Richard, Jill, the county has a transportation authority that's dormant, and there's a portion in the articles that require the county to list its various authorities. And my question was, should that be listed in the articles, even though it's dormant? It still exists.
I don't think it's necessary. That's mostly to list to see if there's any conflicts or overlap in service area. So if it's dormant, I'm not too concerned about it.
Okay, thank you very much, Jill.
Thank you.
Was that it?
That was it.
Okay.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you both.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
I'll now call on Mary Cooner to discuss the Emergency Solutions grant application for 2021. Mary?
Morning, everyone. So the Redevelopment Authority manages the Emergency Solution Grant Funds on behalf of the county. We have an administrative agreement that goes till 2022, but each year DCED, the Department of Community and Economic Development of the state, requires that the county apply for those funds. So we are going to be asking the county to apply for $282,146. These are emergency funds that are used for shelter at Safe Harbor. For individuals, we do rapid rehousing and homeless prevention through the Redevelopment Authority. We also work with community cares to do street outreach and homeless shelter programs. So that's what these funds will be going towards. So it's a dollar for dollar match, and that comes through a number of different things. The Development Block Grant, UPMC and TFEC provide different services in kind. So there's a number of different matches that come together to create this program. So that would be what we're applying for, and I can answer any questions you may have, but we have a number of partners who take part through the to use these funds.
Any questions for Mary?
No.
Thank you, Mary. Moving on to agenda item number 5, I'll call on Tammy Hershey to discuss contracts and grants. Tammy?
Thank you, Stacy.
Agenda item number 5, contracts and grants. Roman numeral 1, A through C consists of existing contracts, contract extensions, or addenda with no additional cost or increase to the county for the following departments: Children and Youth, Cnrc, and Court Administration. Commissioners, do you have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding these agreements? Hearing none, we will move on to agenda item 5, Roman numeral 2, A through G, which consists of new contracts, vendors, services, grants, and contracts with increases or decreases to the county. I'll begin by calling on Jamie Driver to discuss the contracts for children and youth. Is Jamie?
Good morning, Commissioners. The first contract that I have on there is the Diacon Child, Family, and Community Ministries. They provide foster care and in-home services for our agency. They are requesting increases to just 3 of their programs for this coming year. 2 of them are the medically needy foster care levels, one increasing from 6986 to 7160, which is 2.49%, and the other increasing from 4626 to 5005, an increase of 8.19%. These are levels that are not typically used by our agency. However, they are necessary for us to have because we do need them sometimes. And they are at their state maximum allowable, so we're good to clean for those. And then the other one is the Weekend Alternative Program, which are for our older youth to attend, and that is increasing from 178.63 to 184, or a 3.01% increase. The next one is our Milton Hershey contract. They complete record reviews for our physical abuse cases, and that is increasing from 162 per review to 165, an increase of 1.85%, and that is due to an increase in malpractice insurance and a 1% increase in their consultation fees. Any questions?
No, but Jamie, thank you. I always appreciate that you do us this summary sheet on the contracts and grant. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll call on Melissa Smith to discuss the contract for CNRC. Melissa?
Good morning, Commissioners. This is one of our agency's maximum healthcare staffing services, and they're actually going down in pricing. The RN supervisors they're all the way through are being reduced anywhere from $20 an hour to $10 an hour. We were paying the COVID rates, and now they're reducing the contract rates back down.
Anything else?
Any questions?
Thank you. Next, I'll call on Lori Glaze to discuss the Pennsylvania DEP Greener Plus Cover Crop Incentive Grant application. Lori will also discuss the PADP Environmental Stewardship and Watershed Protection Grant. Commissioners, this is an action requested item. Thank you. Lori?
Good morning, Commissioners. The first one is a grant that we would like to apply for. The deadline is at the end of the month. It is for our Cover Crop Incentive Grant Program. So we did recently apply for funding for the National Fish and Wildlife Service for this current year's Cover Crop program, but this grant application would be then for years 2 and 3 from now. So that would be crop years 2022 and 2023, and then 2023 to 2024. So this is a really good program that we do have with the county, and it does play into our CAP with implementation goals, our countywide action plan, to help farmers install these cover crops to reduce erosion. Total grant that we're asking for is $81,000, and we are going to have $81,000 as matched through existing programs with the unconventional gas well program. The other grant that we have, we did have that grant awarded to us from DEP. It's also the Growing Greener, which is also called the Environmental Stewardship and Watershed Protection Grant Program. We were awarded that grant back in December, and this is for the contract to do that work. So that work is to install trout habitat structures from the lake at Boiling Springs to Allenberry Resort. And that will help protect the stream bank from eroding and also create habitat for fish in that area, since it is very popular fly fishermen. Do you guys have any questions?
It's not noted, but does the first item require action today or just the second?
Just the second one. The first one is to apply for a grant.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'll move to approve the PA DEP Environmental Stewardship and Watershed Protection Grant in the amount of $255,980.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Lori?
Next, I'll call on Mark Adams to discuss the contract for IMTO. Mark?
Good morning, Commissioners. IMTO is seeking to renew our internet service agreement with CenturyLink. Previously, we had a 1-year agreement, and by entering into a 2-year agreement, we're able to save the county about $4,000 per year. So the cost of this 2-year agreement is $34,000. This is not, our basic internet connectivity service. This is unique in that it's to connect remote buildings. It's used for VPN connectivity for employees and vendors, and it requires some additional type of static IP addresses and high availability. So this is why probably going to look at that price as more than what you would do for a home or business class service connectivity. Any questions?
Commissioners? Questions?
No.
Anybody? Okay, thank you, Mark. Next, I'll call on Sue Carbo to discuss the 24 contracts for MHIDD early intervention for year 2021, 2022, and the one for mental health for year 2021, 2022. Sue?
Morning, Commissioners. So we have quite the list here. So these are for early intervention. They are the renewal contracts for fiscal year 21-22. We start our contracts out based on the current year utilization. So all but 2 of these contracts have a decreased amount from where they were last year. Services are increasing though, so we will probably need that numerous amendments this year. Generally speaking, all these contracts are for the therapy, speech, physical therapy, occupational therapy, nutrition, vision, hearing, and for our evaluation services. So if it's okay with you, I was just going to go down through the list and give you the total contract amount for each of the providers. Is that okay?
Okay.
Thanks, Sue.
Okay, so the first one is aspirations, and it is a total contract amount of $177,845. Behavior by Design has a contract amount of $8,840. Building Blocks Therapy has a contract amount of $90,691. Early Intervention Specialists has a contract amount of $80,064. Joanna Carnes has a contract amount of $10,929. Matico Pediatric Therapies, their contract amount is $14,394. Connections Early Intervention and Supports is $42,916. Advanced Therapy is $5,000. Barbara Weber is $7,196. Central Pennsylvania Therapy Connections is $19,132. Feeding Little Bellies is a contract amount of $44,389. Jennifer Snyder, contract amount $31,885. Joe Bricker, contract amount of $6,000. Joanne Peters, contract amount of $5,289. Kimberly Snowden, contract amount $36,192. Leanne Broadbent is a contract amount of $12,051. Living Unlimited, a contract amount of $1,500. My Cara Petrie is a contract amount of $161,683. Nicole Custer, contract amount $17,392. Pediatric Therapy Specialist of South Central PA has a contract amount of $48,654. Shannon Sweeney, a contract amount of $3,533. Sylvia Therapy has a contract amount of $199,070. TMB Developmental Therapy and Infant Massage has a contract amount of $20,448. UCP of Central PA has a contract amount of $60,019. That's all the early intervention contracts. The mental health contract that we have on the agenda is for Susquehanna Software. It is also a renewal for fiscal year 21-22 in the amount of $26,400. And it is our CPR web consumer database software support and maintenance. Any questions?
Commissioners, any questions for Sue?
I'm missing the document for the first one.
Missing what?
Me too, Vince.
I'm sorry, for aspirations, Sue, I'm sure we can get it, but it just wasn't in our packet.
The dollar amount?
The entire,
Yeah, Sue,
Document.
when we scanned the packet, it looks like we inadvertently missed one. We'll make sure we get that to the commissioners today.
Okay,
Thank
all right,
you.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
All right. Next, I will call on Rebecca Finke to discuss the PCCD Cumberland County Jail River Trail Program Grant. Is Rebecca on?
Good morning. This is not a new grant. This is one that we've had for the last 2 years, and PCCD has allowed all of the counties in Pennsylvania to extend to through a project modification request, so that we can pull down the dollars. COVID really, with the prison census decrease, affected our ability to get as many people as we projected into the program. So this would extend for 1 more year, and it would be for approximately half of the original contract amount, which was almost 450,000.
Any questions? All right, thank you, Rebecca.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll now call on Justin Miller to discuss the PADEP Household Small Business Hazardous Waste Collection Program Grant. And Commissioners, this is an action requested item. Justin?
Morning, Commissioners. Two documents that require signature here. This is for our April 15th Household Hazardous Waste Disposal event. One is a record of operations report, which just details what we collected. Total weight was 40,593 pounds. As I mentioned before, largely paint, and then a variety of many other common household items in smaller quantities. The second document is the application for reimbursement. So DEP will reimburse us 50% of the cost. Total cost for that event was $35,420.93. So 50% is $17,710.46.
Commissioners, any questions?
No, so we need action on what, both? Or, I'm sorry, just the first one?
Just the first one.
Okay, so if there's no questions on the other items,
Would you like him to go over the other ones now?
I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead. Please.
Justin, will you also discuss the 2 grants for PADEP Section 902 and 904 at this time?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Second item, another grant, Section 902. A little over a year ago, you authorized submission of an application for 90% funding of purchase of a new compost screener. DEP has reviewed the applications and chosen awardees. We have been selected for an award. So this is now the official offering that they're asking the county to sign. Once we sign it, we'll send it back to them. It'll probably take them about 2 months to sign and return to us. Then we'll have 2 years to complete the scope of work and seek our 90% reimbursement. Any questions on that one?
No.
Thank you, Justin.
The last one is a Section 904 grant. That is strictly a rewards grant, primarily geared towards municipalities, which I help gather data for their applications. Sometimes we get data just at the county level, usually on the commercial side. So I've entered that data, and the numbers suggest our award would be $11,291.42, which interestingly is smaller than the previous application, which was for 2019. What we saw in the pandemic with a lot of people being at home instead of at work, commercial waste generation and recycling went down, residential went up. So that's why our number is smaller for this application.
Any other questions, Commissioner?
No, so we need action on the first item for household hazardous waste collection. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a grant request to PADEP for household small business hazardous waste collection program. Grant amount requested $17,710.46.
I second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Justin.
Anything else, Jed? Hey, by the way, that's the most creative background we've seen from you yet. I like that.
You like that?
Yeah, good.
We were all thinking it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tammy. I'll actually call on Tammy to discuss the revisions to the Cumberland County Key Control Policy and Appendices.
Thank you. Commissioners, the currently used key request forms more often than not have been filled out erroneously. We are proposing the forms, or appendices, to the key policy be revised so that the fields to be completed are more self-explanatory. The proposed changes to the county key control policy is intended to reflect these changes to the forms, but not change the substance of the forms, the policy. We've given you copies of the edits proposed. And are there any questions concerning this?
No.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to agenda item number 7, I'll call on Sally Hammerer to discuss a reappointment to the Drug and Alcohol Commission Community Advisory Board. Sally?
Morning, Commissioners, and apologies for the temper tantrum that my camera is currently having. It's a straightforward recommendation for a reappointment of Bailey Whitebread, a current member of our community advisory board. Bailey has been an active member for the last 3 years, and we're recommending that he's appointed to a second 3-year term.
Any questions for Sally? Thank you very much, Sally.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 8 is Commissioners' Liaison Reports, and I'll start by calling on Commissioner Eichelberger.
Okay, just very quickly, of course, Justin handled the recycling contracts and information, so we did put those together. Just wanted to mention I'm working with some officials, the mayor and other officials from the borough of Carlisle in regards to possible relocation of the county's career link, which provides for job placement and training for citizens. And we're just starting a process on that to gather information on possible relocation. The lease is running out on the current facility, which is out in South Milton. And we're trying to establish a location that's going to be optimized accessibility for those who really need the service. We're going to be having a phone conference once we get everybody coordinated with Justin McCray over at the Workforce Investment Board, or South Central PA Works goes by now. So just working on that. Also, continue to work on a number of issues with the KDK Executive Committee, some organizational structure and development issues, and also to build out the the new committee system. So some work to do there. That's all I have for this time.
Thank you, Commissioner Rivera. Commissioner Fauci.
Tuesday evening, I went out to Lower Frankfort, where I attended the meeting between Lower Frankfort Township and residents and Energy Transfer regarding pipeline issues in Lower Frankfort Township. It was a very interesting meeting. It was long. Residents had a tremendous amount of questions. Justin Shawless from Public Safety was there, and he was able to answer a lot of those questions from the public safety perspective. The man who was there from Energy Transfer, who was their public relations person, he did a really nice job in a very, very hot seat. I thought it was unfortunate that Energy Transfer had an attorney with them who stopped the answering of a lot of questions because there were litigants in the audience. And so, you know, people left not getting all of the information that they wanted. Because, you know, the company is protecting itself from litigation, which is really a shame. That pipeline runs right through Lower Frankfort. There are some issues with it there. It is unique, and there's more than one pipeline. There's 3 of them running, you know, right next to each other. But they are unique to Cumberland County and unique to that area of the world. And so there are some very unique public safety concerns that people certainly deserve an answer to. So that was a Tuesday evening. And I would remind you to use the Cumberland County Library System. Right now, the reading program is underway. It is called Tales to Tales, and it's a play on whales, of course. So that summer reading program, my kids have loved it for many, many years. They dig it, that they read books, they go in, the librarian checks off how many books they read. They get to put their tickets in to win something. It is fantastic, so I would encourage that for the summer. That's all.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Fauci. Commissioner DeFilippo.
I have a late report this cycle, and it's to include the Ag Preservation Board meeting yesterday that was canceled due to lack of any action items. But just to recap, the 2020 applicants have been ranked, and the offers will be going out shortly. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner DeFilippo.
Sure.
I would like to report that an executive session was held on June 9, 2021 at 9:30 a.m. regarding personnel. And I would also like to request an executive session regarding personnel at the conclusion of today's meeting. Is there any additional business that needs to come before the board today?
Commissioners, I do, and I apologize for the late timing of this. It concerns the Controller's Office. I'm looking for a motion by you to accept the IRS agreement and authorize the Controller to execute that agreement.
I'll make that motion.
I will second.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Is there any additional business that needs to come before the board today? Hearing none, we are adjourned.